Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and again, there are no coincidences. It's important that you realize that as we go into this video, because I'm going to go a little further into something I went through yesterday. There are no coincidences, remember that. The Cryptic Poet had tweeted this out today, I believe today. Yes, today. Digital Dollar Live says the Ripple partner Accenture will present the Digital Dollar Live event at 1 p.m. today. You can go and register for this event. I just want to make you aware of that. Then there was this from DJ Peter Voss. Grayscale receives FINRA approval for Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin to trade publicly. The reason this is significant is that these Grayscale investment trusts that they've been doing, a lot of them are only open to accredited investors. And you couldn't do it in like an individual, like on an E-Trade or a Charles Schwab. But now you're going to be able to do it with those two. That's significant. You still can't do it. My understanding is you still cannot, the public still can't invest directly in the XRP trust, which might be a good question for Grayscale. Okay. DJ Peter Voss also sent me this. Bond 180 completes strategic funding round and forms partnership with R3. Bond 180, a provider of technology solutions for primary fixed income markets. So they're going to do a strategic funding round and partnership with R3. Now, the guys that started Bond 180 left R3 to do so, just so you know. But as I said this to you 2 years ago, folks, before this is over, digital assets will have every single investment vehicle that you are used to in the traditional financial markets. You name it. ETFs, bonds, whatever. It's all going to be in this, okay? You'll be able to, and interest paying. You're already seeing all this stuff. More of it now than you did 2 years ago. XRP Crypto Wolf, Japan's SMBC Bank has joined two trade finance blockchains, Comgo and Contour. Contour uses R3's Corda and blockchain. SMBC Bank has trialed R3's Corda Marco Polo and signed a deal with SBI to roll out R3's enterprise blockchain technology in Japan. And there are those cargo containers again that Chris Larson always loves to talk about. All right. Michelle Vandenberg sent me this. I thought this was a pretty good line for, I don't know where Brad Garlinghouse said this. It seems like I heard it, but I just don't remember where it was. But this is from Anders Lundberg. In a way, we're plumbers. Brad Garlinghouse, a quote from Brad Garlinghouse, and he expounds on this. You don't turn on water until all the pipes are connected beneath the ground. You turn on the liquidity when the job is finished. The remittance is just turning on water in the sink for a couple seconds as a test. Folks, I believe this for a long time. I believe we've been watching testing since 2012 when Ripple was conceived. I believe that we have been part of the test. I believe we've been the guinea pigs. And I believe that those of us who understand what we own, which is not that many, I see more and more fall off every day. Those of you that understand what you own and what you're a part of are not bothered by what the market looks like and all these people you see on Twitter. Oh, but it's only 20 cents. Those are people that don't understand what they either own or used to own, okay, if they bailed out. But that's fine. That's not relevant to me and what I plan to accomplish in my life. What's relevant to me is telling what I believe to be the truth, and that is there are no coincidences. This is all, everything we talk about on this channel. I don't talk about it just to talk about it. I talk about it because common sense refuses to allow me not to talk about it. And I don't ignore the obvious. And I don't see, like when Ripple puts out a press release and half the world's, oh no, it's all over. No, that's not how the world works. I've seen everything I need to see. I know what I own. I know exactly what I own. All right. And I'll show you a little more of why I think that towards the end of this video. Now, there are no coincidences, folks. Watch this string of gold and silver news. Breaking news. Sprott Silver Trust to purchase 1.5 billion of physical silver, a dropping 8.8% of annual gold global production. Holy smokes. Next. Wow, silver is up 4.33%. Spot 20.75. We will see $21 today. Will we see $21 today? Zero hedge. Gold, silver soaring. Zero hedge. Silver, $21. Gold Telegraph. Silver is now at 5%. Gold is the money of kings. Silver is the money of gentlemen. Barter is the money of peasants. But debt is the money of slaves. That's a quote from Norm France. Well, I say digital assets are the money of the fourth industrial revolution and the new world order. That's what I say. And then Gold Telegraph, we will be following the much anticipated 2 p.m. vote for Judy Shelton in front of the Senate Banking Committee. If she wins, the next step is the consideration by the full Senate to join the Federal Reserve Board. Let's go, Judy. And then there's this. GOP's from Steve Gilbronson. GOP's Kennedy says he'll vote for the Fed nominee Judy Shelton. Expect swift action. Market watch. Okay, and now to what I was talking about yesterday. I keep telling you there are no coincidences. Brad Garlinghouse all of a sudden pops up in a video with what appears to be just some guy. But it's not just some guy. This is Jameson Greer, who worked in the U.S., I think it was called the U.S. Trade Department or something to that effect. And he is literally the guy who was helping to negotiate the U.S.-China trade deal. Do you think those are coincidences? I do not. I don't think Brad Garlinghouse just happens to pop up with this guy. This guy has just been sent to King and Spalding, where I'm assuming he can represent companies like Ripple. He's just been sent there, just started working there, and he left the U.S. Trade Commission to do so. Similar to how remember how Brian Brooks left Coinbase and went to be the comptroller of the currency? Similar to that. Well, look at this Jameson Greer. I just wanted to drive this point home a little bit, and then I'll show you a couple of videos. Jameson Greer, I believe, is sitting right there. U.S.-China, these are older articles. U.S.-China trade talks begin in Washington. He's in this photo, and you can see his name right here just to prove it. Chief of Staff Jameson Greer. And then let's look at another one. Ambassador Lighthouse delivers remarks at USMCA. Donald Trump. This is a guy named, this Lighthizer. This is Jameson Greer's boss when he was there. Steve Mnuchin. And then we've got Jared Kushner, who's best buddies with Ken Kurson on Ripple's board. You got Steve Mnuchin, who appointed Stuart Alderoty, who's currently Ripple's general counsel, who appointed him to be the general counsel at CIT Bank. He left CIT Bank, goes to become the treasurer of the United States. Stuart Alderoty goes to become the general counsel at Ripple. Ken Kurson's best buddy, Jared Kushner, is the senior advisor to Donald Trump. This guy is the boss of this guy. I think this right here is the guy we're talking about. This guy, Jameson Greer. All right. And so you got him right there. And then here's a video.
Thank the wonderful staff at USTR, many of whom are
right there.
On here. I like to think of us a little bit like we were the Marine Corps.
Okay, and then we've got this. I found several different pictures worthy of showing you. Here's Jameson Greer right here. Representatives from the G20 nations met in Berlin. So he's a representative of the G20 nation of the United States. Steel Summit fails to reduce glut. There he is again. And this guy right here is from, he's the China, let me see, what was his title? I saw it earlier. I'll find it. China's Assistant Commerce Minister, Li Changgang, is that guy right there. So he's meeting with them. And let me see, I don't see German Economy Minister, Bridget Zipries, that's the woman in the middle. All right, and then we've got this, U.S. and China trade barbs over global glut in steel. So this guy's all over the Chinese situation. And then we have this on 22nd of July, 9:30 a.m. Senate Banking Committee will hold a hearing on U.S.-China winning the economic competition with testimony by Chris Giancarlo, who works for a law firm that represents Ripple, former CFTC chairman. Now, all this China is China. And Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple for the last few months, China is all they can talk about. 10:30 to 11:30 right here. This is Brad Garlinghouse when he did the employee conference call.
We were able to finish the quarter on a strong note. It's certainly not lost upon me that, and I don't think, frankly, many people in the crypto community, that the majority of the Bitcoin mining power is in China. And particularly when we see the dynamics going on in the COVID world we're living in, those dynamics are only going to get more accentuated, I think, during the balance of 2020. And I think it's important for really the globe to understand that Bitcoin mining power today is controlled in China, and what are the implications of that as we look at, many governments around the world taking a very strong stance about Huawei and the build out of 5G mobile networks. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I do think a priority for us throughout Q2 and really the balance of 2020 will be to continue to push to get more clarity, frankly, not just for XRP and all of the participants in the XRP ecosystem, but really for crypto more broadly.
All right. And then here's Chris Larson talking China.
Assets are the same. Bitcoin uses a lot of energy that's costly. Someone's got to pay for that. It also is prone to be controlled, and frankly, it's controlled by miners in China. You have to say that it has undue influence by Chinese miners and therefore the government. We think things like XRP are going to be more neutral. They're going to be faster, cheaper, just because of the way it works, and that's what we've embraced, obviously. But China.
So, and then here's Brad Garlinghouse from that same video clip with this Jameson Greer.
Just so we're all kind of operating from the same set of facts, if you will. The reason why I say I think China is ahead in some ways because, I think the U.S. is behind. And I think the most tangible example of that is when the U.S. government gave regulatory clarity to Bitcoin and Ether. And this was 2 years ago now, more than 2 years ago. The director of corporate finance, Bill Hinman, gave a speech that, providing clarity that the SEC did not view Bitcoin and Ether as securities. It made it accessible, and so that different platforms, different exchanges, even we just saw an ad before we started from ErisX, different players to say, oh, okay, now there's clarity around that, so we can invest in that. Well, I also think I think that follow the blockchain and crypto world are aware that today, because of the mining control of Bitcoin and Ether in China, these are technologies controlled by China. And, I think 25 years ago, the US was a leader in making the internet what it is today. But part of that came from regulatory clarity. Part of that came from the Telecom Deregulation Act in 1996. We have that opportunity in front of us now with blockchain, but I haven't seen the US kind of lean into that. And instead, in a world where we see all kinds of concerns about Huawei and 5G networks, we're 3 years from now, you can imagine the exact same headlines about this next generation of payment technologies.
Well, that regulatory clarity was.
I think just so we're all
okay. And finally, I wanted to show you this clip from Donald Trump. And before I show you this clip, I wanted to quote Kid Rock. I've quoted Kid Rock on this channel before, and I'm going to quote him again. I was born at night, but not last night, baby.
Financial services is going to be a massive boon to the banks and credit card companies and all of these companies, including ownership interests. Before you had to do certain things that made it very difficult for banks and institutions to really go into China. China's really been opened up now for the first time to financial services and to the big banks and credit card companies and other types of financial services. So that's a tremendous thing. And I think we have complete agreement on that.
I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button. And tell your friends and family that I was born at night, but not last night, baby. Thanks for listening.